If you're married and you and your spouse are in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you're either retired or approaching retirement. And you're probably focused on one big question: do I have enough money? And while that is a valid concern and definitely one we want to answer, in some cases, I've seen the bigger issue not be about the amount of money, it's the taxes attached to that money. And so today I want to walk you through one of the largest unplanned and often unseen tax penalties that you can leave your spouse: the widower or the widow tax penalty. There are two primary areas where this shows up. Let's take a look at them. Let's start with ordinary income tax and your required minimum distributions, or RMDs for short. Because if you're in your early to mid 70s, you're taking RMDs from traditional IRAs and 401ks. Now, depending on your situation, these distributions may not really hurt you too bad from a tax standpoint, because right now, if you're still married, you're filing jointly. But what happens when one spouse passes away? Well, the income and the RMD normally stay the same, or that RMD is going to increase over time. But now that surviving spouse is filing single. What that means is the same amount of income is going to be taxed at higher marginal rates. Or in other words, the government is going to take more out of that income simply because one spouse is gone. But the good news, there are strategies that can help mitigate this risk. Now, if you're in your 50s and 60s, you're before RMD age, you're in a real nice sweet spot that provides flexibility to use planning strategies to intentionally reposition assets before this becomes a permanent problem. The second area this penalty shows up is how Social Security is taxed and how Medicare premiums are calculated. When you move from filing jointly to filing single, there's a potential for a greater portion of your Social Security income to be taxed. Medicare premiums can increase due to IRMA, basically saying that monthly take-home income is quietly shrinking at the very moment a spouse is grieving. They also may be facing a higher tax burden with that reduced net income. This is not something couples want to plan for, but it's something that we can plan around. So if the idea of the government taking more of your hard-earned savings and nest egg simply because one of you passes away doesn't sit right with you, let's talk. We can help you plan ahead and mitigate the widow or widower tax penalty. Next week, we're going to be diving deeper into how Social Security income is taxed and how Medicare premium costs are calculated. We'll see you then.